Musical guest. Welcome, John Henry.
Hi, thanks for having me.
John Henry from PALS. Whew, can tell
PALS,
I'm getting back to being on the air. Yeah, yeah. Who I've seen, just saw play Tuesday.
Yeah, we just played last Tuesday at the White Squirrel. It was a real fun show. Played with a couple other local bands, Northern Hammer and Ciao Bello. I think that was their first bar show.
Nice.
It was all three were two-piece bands. That's always fun.
You pack a lot of power into your two people.
Yeah, I like to make a lot of noise, and also I've been playing with Brad, my drummer, for maybe like 12 years now.
Jeez.
And in a rhythm section, you just really kind of bond. So it's just fun to make music, just me and him. But I also do my best to make sure I fill out the sound as much as possible to make sure it never feels lacking.
It does not. You certainly filled up the sound space at the White Squirrel.
Thank you.
Yeah. All bands did. I mean, it was super fun. It is. There's just an energy of two people. I don't know if it feels like it's more connected or, just something.
I don't know. Maybe
two arms of the same body or something.
Is there like too much intimacy on display?
Oh, never too much. Never too much. 12 years is a long time to play with someone.
Yeah, he played with me. He was our second drummer and our main drummer in my last band, Nightosaur. We had two different drummers. A different guy named Travis was our first drummer, and he had to leave the band, and we found Brad. And yeah, we were roommates for a little while.
Nice.
I've known this guy for a long time.
Nice.
And playing bass with him playing drums, it's like speaking a language that we're both fluent in, and it gave me the confidence to be like, I bet we could just do a band with just the two of us, because he's nice and busy. It's fun.
It's fun to watch him on stage.
Yeah.
I mean
because he definitely fills.
Oh
the
God,
sound.
yeah. He could fill a gym.
Yeah.
I mean, just with the movement alone.
Sometimes I think of him kind of like he's the engine and I'm just the chassis and the frame.
Not just but yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Well, here's my question. Tell me a little bit about the kind of the lineage of the bands you've been in. I mean, you've been playing music for. How'd you get started?
There are all kinds of false starts. But
sometimes those are the most fun.
Yeah, they're pretty fun. But it's like it gets a little frustrating when they don't quite gel. If you spend like 6 months and missing like one member of a band, and then somebody else will be like, "Well, we never found somebody to play drums, so I'm done." And it's like, "Well, okay."
All right.
But I had a hip hop group called MCVL. We played like from 2005 to 2011. And it was kind of like throwback sort of party rap stuff. We'd get compared to Beastie Boys.
They say no sleep till
Yeah. But truly when I was writing, I was doing my best to channel early LL Cool J.
Ooh.
But it's not an insult to be compared to the Beastie Boys.
No. No.
And that was the first band that I ever performed on a stage with, and that kind of weirdly just came together. A friend of mine I met through doing karaoke.
Okay.
And it was like, oh, he can do this rap song good too. Oh, cool, we're friends. Oh, I write, you write. Oh, right, blah, 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 blah. We're both writers. And then we were hanging out, and he said he had a dream. And in his dream, his MC name came to him. And I'm like, okay. Well, tell me. And he said, MC Vicious Lee. And I just kind of roasted him for a little bit. And he's like, okay, well, if you had a rap name, what would yours be? And I just started, saying adjectives and proper nouns. And I came across Mighty Clyde, and I liked that. And then after that conversation, then we watched a Twins game, and after the Twins game, he was like, sometimes I write beats. What are you doing tomorrow? And we got together and wrote 4 songs. And that was the beginning.
That's
of it,
awesome.
I guess. And yeah, getting up on a stage made me not do karaoke really ever again because I'm like, I like doing my songs.
That's fair. That's fair.
And
Somebody the stories are just like, now I have an insight into the boy mind that I've never had before. After the Twins game, he said, right back into, I wonder what they're thinking about the last thing you said. That's it.
And I had spent a couple years in MCVL wanting to start a metal band or pair up with some people to play some heavy music. And then a friend of mine from a band that we played with frequently, Max Clark, he came up to me after MCVL played a set at Memory Lanes, and he's like, "Hey, John, do you want to be in my band?" And I said, "Is it a metal band?" He goes, "It is now."
Perfect.
And so I was like, "You have a deal?" And it took a while to find a drummer, and we found one, Travis Franklin, who went on to be in Cat Bath. Cat Bath is his follow-up band.
Nice.
And that was really fun because he was kind of still learning a lot of new tricks on drums, and I hadn't played a bass guitar in like 8 years or something like that, and I was like, oh, let's see how this goes. So that was like really fun getting to be part of a rhythm section with somebody. And then he had to leave the band. Max also had to leave the band, and we trimmed down to a 3-piece, and that's when Brad joined the band. And that band, we were going from 2010, I think is when we started, and I think our last time we played was maybe 2018.
Wow.
We don't consider it done. We're not.
Just
We didn't
hiatus.
quit. It's just like, hey, I'm just not playing stuff right now.
Dormant.
And then, yeah, when we were making that transition, my friend Andy was like, I don't know if I feel like doing this right now. We talked a little bit, and then I turned to Brad and I said, "What are you doing next week?" He said, "Practicing with you." And I'm like, yeah. And that's how PALS started.
That's awesome. I can't get rid of.
Put him on the air.
There we go. Yeah.
Hey, you're the only caller.
Right. Tell us again about your product. Yes, yeah.
Tell them what they want, Ann.
Free airtime on WMCN. There you go. Those are some pretty long-lasting bands, to be fair.
Yeah.
And that's impressive.
And the brevity of MCVL was just because we were slowing down in writing, and we were like, you know what? We're still doing really well. Let's just stop while we're still doing really well.
Nice.
And that felt like a good move.
That's...
Instead of, kind of like, oh, there are fewer and fewer people at shows.
We've jumped the shark twice now.
Maybe we've been together too long.
Yeah. That is some prescience to see that, because a lot of bands, a lot of people don't realize, oh, I should have stopped.
Yeah. But I mean, if it brings you joy, there's no reason to
stop. Exactly. You're not forcing anyone to be there, for the most part.
But I don't want to be begging them.
No. Please, I'll bring in M&Ms. Yeah. Should we play some of the music?
Sure.
All right. You want to pick a song, and do you want to tell me about the song before or after?
I don't want to pick one. You pick. I know all of them.
I'm gonna pick Big PALS.
Big PALS and Little China. All right. Yeah. We're gonna listen to it first, then talk.
Either way, let's listen to it first.
Okay.
Okay. Big PALS and Little China by PALS. Here we go. It's that second delay that I'm like, that's what I love when there's a big delay in the current. I'm like, huh. Those people are getting paid. Okay, check in because when I'm alone, I listen to it louder in here, but I turned it down so that but I'm like, it's too quiet.
recorded this with MJ.
Oh, nice. Nice. So now it's getting the radio debut. Is this the radio debut?
At one point, I sent Doc, who does
Desert Islands, yeah.
I sent him one song like a year ago, and I don't know if they played it. Because this is still just like in the can, but on the shelf, until I have the mental bandwidth to make some decisions about it.
So, trouble will look good leaving here. Hey, whatever you do with it over there, that's on you. Big PALS and Little China. We have John Henry from PALS in studio.
Yeah, that's me. That was a song that I made up. Big PALS and Little China. That was the second one that we wrote. And there isn't really like too much thought into the lyrics, but there's definitely kind of some, for lack of a better word, some mildly like apocalyptic sort of things, but sometimes in this fast-moving modern world, it's hard not to consider those things. But also lyrically, it is pointing out that things are still undecided, and it's like, hey, it might feel like the end times, but I'm glad you're here with me.
Nice.
And that was the lyrical gist of that one.
Nice.
And I like the movie Big Trouble in Little China,
yes.
So I called it Big PALS in Little China.
I feel like you could have a dozen albums based on movies that you like. For sure.
The first song I wrote in Nidosaur, I showed the lyrics to my buddy from MCVL, and he read through them. He's like, "So this is just Conan the Barbarian?" And then I looked at it and I go, "Yeah."
What do you mean, just? Yeah, you could do dozens. I mean, that could be a whole... You could do a whole night of that.
Well, I mean, the name for the band is from Young Guns, because they talk about being pals a lot. Like, old Dirty Steve knows the meaning of the word pals, don't you, Steve? And, that really amuses me, so I was like, yeah, I want to immortalize this.
That's a perfect way to get a band name.
Yeah. Every once in a while, somebody's like, I'm like, yeah, Young Guns. And they're like, no way, awesome, that's what I thought. I'm like, no, you didn't.
Should make them guess first. Big treat, surprise if they guess it right.
Yeah.
You've got a show coming up?
Yeah, October 12th, along with, I guess, everybody else. We'll be playing at Palmer's on October 12th. It's a pretty loaded bill.
Thank you for looking it up.
Info on that. I know that we're playing with our friends Flintlock. That'll be fun. There we go. Home team quarterback, Cash, Flintlock, A Sunken Ship Irony, Mid-Death Calm, and us, PALS.
Perfect. I think I've only seen 3 of those bands before. I love when I get to see new things.
Yeah.
It seems like you're playing more, or is that just the time of year?
It's just the time of year.
Yeah, that's good.
And as I ascend in age, I have a decline in energy a little bit, I suppose. Not so much, but 6 shows a year sounds like a fine schedule.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Because I've definitely been caught up in the flurry of things and wound up playing 3 times in a month and being like, that's actually too many. And then tried to stick to 1 show a month and then failed at doing that and said, like, hey, we're going to take like 6 months off and then say yes to a show like a week later. There's jobs and we have to do things, and we also, we like being rested.
Yes. Well, the relaxation is good. And it'd be one thing to just show up for everything if you had groupies doing all your work. Wouldn't that be nice?
If anybody was doing all of it.
But I think that's part of the...
I learned the new interface on Instagram the other day, and that I'm still proud of myself. That felt like a Herculean feat. But I had to promote last week's show. So I figured it out.
It's impressive. Yes, very good. Very good. Well, for folks who haven't seen, tell your unique marketing position.
I find people like cats, so I take pictures of my cat and add text and other things. Sometimes, people really respond to Oprah, and I might find a screen grab of a picture of Oprah and then put all the pertinent information about a show. I've also just looked up weird behind-the-scenes photos from movie sets and stuff like that, and I try to find very distinct and unique images.
Yes, you do a good job. I wonder if you could get a picture of Oprah holding your cat.
I don't know how to do that. I bet somebody does.
Somebody does. I'm trying to think if I do.
Or a picture of my cat holding Oprah.
Oh, give her a
Because
little
if
hug.
one is possible, the other. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you just have to get.
Yeah, my new cat's name is Charles Barkley, and I'm gonna get him a basketball jersey soon. So
Are you gonna get a video of you putting his jersey on a cat?
PALS.band on Instagram. Yes. And I'm sure that'll be the first place I have a picture of Charles Barkley wearing his new jersey.
I think you just need a video of you putting that on the cat, because that sounds...
It's not that difficult. I got him a t-shirt just to make sure he was comfortable wearing something before I invested in some sports memorabilia.
Right.
For a cat.
Do they sell? I suppose they do.
I don't know. I haven't sourced it yet.
Okay.
Somebody recommended going through Build-A-Bear.
Oh, that's a very good idea.
But we'll see. I enjoy the Mall of America, so I'm going to put my feet on the ground first and check out a
I think that makes
spot,
a lot of...
check out the Build-A-Bear, see what I can do.
And then Etsy.
Yeah.
Someone's making cat sweaters on. Although, cat sweater can be two things. And you want a cat, sort of for your cat.
Yeah.
Not. Should we listen to another song?
Sure.
All right. What have you got?
Yeah, go for it. Any of them. They're fun.
They're fun, yeah. Hadron, we're going to listen to Hadron.
Okay.
By PALS on Mostly Minnesota Music on WMCN 91.7 FM. And here we go. Usually the first show I totally forget to say the call letters, but you have to do a certain,
Yeah.
And then I'll have a show where every 10 minutes because I... I don't think anyone is stalking to see if I've...
Yeah.
Especially all summer. There's been no one else in the studio before, after, during summer.
I think, but I'm in school just, started 3 weeks ago? Welcome back, kiddos.
Yeah. This is the end of the first week of shows.
Oh, wow.
But I'm feeling good that they might fix the computer so I can get all the archives of the shows.
Yeah.
Because I optimistically do archive them and think, that's why at least I get the interview, When I'm by myself, I just stand back here and dance the whole time. Hey,
Well, you know, gets groovy.
Yeah, I kind of,
Pals gets a little groovy.
And I don't usually know, if you're by yourself, I'm like, well, no. And not just for the steps. Is the 12th a Saturday?
I forgot how much weird backwards masking funny things that we put in. I think I just said Paul instead.
Hadron and a note.
Yeah.
That's what we got there because I wasn't fast enough on the draw. And we have PALS. We have John Henry from PALS in studio. Yeah.
Yep. I sing and play bass in PALS. It's a two-piece band, psychedelic grunge. That song was called Hadron. It's just, a sexy little love song about the CERN Large Hadron Particle Collider.
Awesome.
Sexy particle colliding.
I can't think of anything sexier.
Yeah. I mean, but it's also truly about love.
Yeah. It always.
Yeah.
That was the theme today. Was PALS, friends, buddies.
I noticed
I thought that
with
would
some
be.
of the songs, I was like, oh, I wonder.
Yeah. Yes. That was the theme, and I had to realize I had to go back to in all Minnesota songs, of course, the Minnesota Beatles cover albums for a lot of these. I'm like, people don't really sing about their friends that much anymore. That's very funny. I'm like, a lot of things, but not so much friends.
I enjoy playing shows, and every time I do, I feel connected with the audience, and I always like to point out that, Brad and I may be pals, but we are all now friends.
Nice. Very nice.
Yes.
What is the creative process for you guys? Do you share? Do you write the songs together?
We write the songs together. We kind of jam things out mostly, and most of the creation happens in the practice space in the studio. We record every practice, and then revisit different riffs, and then sometimes think about this segment would go really well with this segment, but holy cow, 4 minutes of that nobody needs to hear. And then I start putting pen to paper and writing some lyrics. I also do have just pages of lyrics that I haven't put to any music, but I don't always think of them together. For instance, we have this one song, we don't have a recording of it yet, but a song called Junkyard Dog that started out as a joke about Tom Waits. I was in a car with two friends, one of whom likes Tom Waits, one of whom dislikes Tom Waits, and I was just joking about the construction of Tom Waits songs, and I started just kind of growling, just a junkyard dog with junkyard things. And then I was like, I'll just write a whole song's worth of lyrics like that. And I brought it up in practice, and Brad was like, well, which Tom Waits song do you want it to sound like? And I said, hey, Tom Waits songs, I recognize them when I see them, but I don't know their names. Then I thought back to Nightosaur, where we would, we played with no shirts on, because it's very warm on stage. And also, people like a gimmick.
Yeah.
And sometimes we talked about covering Going Out West by Tom Waits, because there's the lyric, I look good without a shirt. And so I played that as reference, and it clicked, and I said, Brad, this is the one. we're going to make it sound like this one. And we tried to get it done in time for a performance and just kind of ran out of time. We weren't confident in playing it for the first time at that stage. And after that, I was like, you know what? We don't have to make it sound like this Tom Waits song anymore. And that was because my friends that heard the joke were going to be there. And we've changed it into this like really wild punky number.
The number
so that's kind of the process sometimes. But, you know, every piece of art is unique.
Yes. Well, I just love the idea that you'd make up your own rule. It has to sound like Tom Waits. Oh, no, it doesn't. You know, the number of things in life you're like, yeah, it does. That doesn't just be like that.
It was an employee party for my work, and so I had told coworkers about it. Because I was very amused at this idea of this Tom Waits joke. But then as soon as like the joke wasn't going to be as funny, it wasn't as worth doing.
No.
And I made Brad go see the band McCluskey with me, and during a song that I don't know if I can say the name on, Lightsaber Sea Sucking Blues.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll just go with that one.
Yeah, we'll say it like that. And it has this really cool drum syncopation. I was like, Brad, like this. And then the next practice was like, oh, since we're not making it sound like Tom Waits, well, if we made it sound just like this, and maybe like kind of sound like Melody.
Yeah. I think it's like being a chef. Just put in different spices and proteins and all the different. I wish I could do that.
You do it in so many different ways.
Yeah. Thanks. Because you work at a bar.
Yeah.
If I worked at a bar and I wrote songs, I would be writing down. You must hear some funny.
Yeah, a lot of it goes like I forget it as soon as I clock out.
Yeah.
Or I might remember it for a couple days to share these really weird interactions.
Yes. That is a relative with some memory issues who's going to maybe call every 5 minutes for a little bit. That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. There we go. Yeah. Should we listen to another song?
Sure.
All right. We've got two left, so...
Let's do Starface Drifter now.
Okay. You want to talk about it after, or you want to give any lead-in?
Starface Drifter, I was at the Target in the Midway at 11:30 at night, like 2019, and a guy with stars tattooed around his eye said, hey man, when I was walking down whatever aisle, and I turned and I was like, oh, me? And he said, yeah. I'm like, what can I do for you? And he said, hey, do you think you could buy me this hat? Because I really want this hat and I don't want to steal it. And I said, okay, I see where you're coming from. I have one question for you. And he said, yes. I go, why this hat? And he said, I don't know, man. I just think it looks really cool. And I said, fair. Then I pulled a bandana out of my pocket that was for Colt 45 beer, and it was a very cool looking bandana. And I said, hey, what if I just gave you this bandana? Or I said, hey, this looks cool. And he said, yeah, it does. And I said, what if I gave you this bandana? Then you get something cool looking. You can wear it on your head. You can wear it around your neck. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. But then you still get something cool. And that was that.
And you don't have to steal it.
I referred to him as the Starface Drifter. And then I kind of just spun a sort of weird psychedelic yarn about it. About a person going down a path and running into the Starface Drifter, who asks them for something impossible, and then the speaker offers something else in trade.
A lesson to be learned. Starface Drifter. That is funny.
The Starface Drifter.
I like that story.
We sometimes talk about doing follow-up songs to Starface Drifter. Like at first we were like, oh, we can do like 3-part, and then I was like, oh, well, this one's from the traveler's perspective. The next one could be from the Drifter.
Because again, it's Charlie Parr writing from all ends.
Earthbound Wanderer.
That one from the security guard watching the whole transaction. That would be genius. I like this one.
This was lyrically difficult because the cadence had to be just so. And sometimes you create a rhyme structure, you can only get so far with it.
Yeah.
But also, I was like, this song doesn't need to be like 12 minutes long. It could be.
It could be. It could be. It doesn't need to be. I think the times that I make up these crazy things that I need to do this by that and.
Yeah. No, you don't.
I don't know. Scholarship writing on this? I don't think.
Yeah, like our newest song is an instrumental, so I was like, I don't want to write songs. Write lyrics for this one. This one's like real pretty. And I did offer to Brad. I'm like, hey, if you're not ready to play it at the show, I could write lyrics for it in the future. I still can write lyrics for it in the future. I might not though. I do have to write a name for the new instrumental. This is gonna be one of those.
Yeah.
Because the pretty one just doesn't cut it. And then there's two different. There's like a really clean version that we did in the practice space that I call Sotto Voce. And then there's like a way louder one that I call Piete Voce, but that also feels like a misnomer and is not a good name for the song. But whatever, I don't know if we'll ever even record it, so maybe I'll never have to name it. I just have to write it down on the set list.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Like that part.
Yeah, we did some fun studio tricks for vocals on all of these. But this one I think has like maybe octupled vocals or something. There's like singing one, low singing one, higher singing one, monotone talk one. But yeah, doubles on, so 7 layers of vocals.
That sounds like a lot of work to me because I don't know anything about it. I guess
say him again.
Being fair, I guess I've dated those sound guys. I've seen it's not like digging.
No.
We don't know how to do something impossible, if you know, Senji. Starface Drifter by PALS.
Starface Drifter.
Yeah, we got John Henry in studio. Yeah.
Just being groovy over here. Far out.
I know. Well, when you were talking a little bit about kind of the production of the music, and I want to ask you what do you like about performing versus recording, and recording versus what are the advantages? Because the songs do sound a little bit different. I mean, if you're going to use.
I intend for them to sound different.
Which I like.
Absolutely to sound
if I
different.
sit home and listen to an album if I wanted to.
Live performance is fun. Like working in a 2-piece that psychedelic grunge, as I call it. There's all this room for solos, and that means like every show has new improvisation happening. Some things are kind of dialed in, but nothing is set in stone as far as what my solos are. So that's fun, and I like incorporating solos so live performances can always be different than the recording. But then also when you're in a studio, like you can do tricks. You can overdub, or you can double. You can play the same thing 3 different times and layer all 3 of them on top of each other just to kind of make it a little more massive.
Yeah.
You can run different effects, like kind of do like a reverb wash without having to have like a reverb pedal. There's just all kinds of neat extra things that you can do because you have the time. Whereas live, everything is happening in the instant, and you're making art instantly. And as soon as like that note is played, you have to already be moving on to the next one. So you don't have the time to do these.
Stop, Dio. I'm just gonna do that.
Yeah.
Like, just bring your mind back.
Like
2 minutes.
that one Simpsons episode where the Reverend Lovejoy is like, I'm finally gonna do it, and he plays Inagata Davida on the organ, but he keeps messing up, and he's like, wait. Oh, no, wait.
Right.
He just starts over and over and over and over again.
Right.
That's a luxury you can do in a studio. That's not a luxury you get on a stage.
No. It's interesting, especially because you have this kind of library of different, as I said before, spices and proteins. Yeah, it must be fun to go, let's dig that out of. Yeah. And I think it's so smart to record all of the rehearsals. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why everybody wouldn't do,
Well, I mean, like, I end up having to, like, interface with it and cut them up and
do,
like, computer things, and I'm not interested in computers. But some people are, so,
I hear that there's a space for you to have an intern, then, if somebody likes that part, they could do it.
Sure.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Right our marketing department.
Start with a cat,
But like when you play a new song, I like to put brand new songs at the beginning because of that sort of like spontaneous, instant and prescient aspect of performing, because the new song is most likely the one that you'll make a mistake in. And so you do that first so you can get the mistakes out of the way and then, make no mistakes later. But it's also art, and I made it up. So something I might view as a mistake, nobody would recognize.
Nobody knows.
Sometimes I've made mistakes that I'm like, actually, that's good. I need to know how to do that again. And also, there isn't such a thing as a mistake.
No.
In a live performance.
No.
It's a unique.
I agree 100%. I remember being at a noise show. I mean, in the joke at the noise show, do you think they're done warming up? Are they done? But it was a band, and they were, it's noise. It's noise. Yeah. And then they get off the stage, they're like, God, we sucked. I'm like, no one would know. Yeah. But no one would. Why wouldn't you just go,
I internalize some of that stuff.
Nailed it. Well, internalize it, but...
Well, no, it's like closer, not just like somebody from the crowd, but like a close friend will be like, oh, and I'm like, well, and I'm just like, oh man, oh no, that was
a rough one.
And they're like, it was great. And I'm like, easy for you to say. But I also like to point out to friends, like how to tell if a mistake has happened, because that's actually like kind of when, like, Brad and I will laugh to each other. Yeah. If you see bandmates, like kind of chuckling to each other or smiling, and it doesn't feel like it's like, oh, this is part of the performance of the song. That means somebody made a mistake somewhere. Yeah. And everybody got past it.
I think that's good, because I've seen some bands, and it's usually a very different genre, where I'm like, ooh, someone just got the stink eye. I'm just like, maybe save your notes for after. Yeah. Because there are times you're like, ooh, now I'm uncomfortable for that person. This is, this is getting weird. looking at the time. I know we have one more song.
Yeah.
You want to play one more song?
Yeah, one more song. This is the first one that we wrote.
One more song.
It's called One Set of Footprints. It's about how God is dead and we all die alone. But it's like fun. It's like really fun.
Kind of a nothing left to lose kind of a fun. Is that?
It's just like, if life's a game, like nobody gets out of it alive,
Very true.
Kind of similar to the poem, One Set of Footprints, and you look
Yeah.
back and there's just one set of footprints. The reason there was one set of footprints is because that's where Shaq was helping you dunk. Because I can't dunk, I would need help.
Yes.
So that's the inspiration for that song.
I love that. Here we go. Yeah. After this, we'll just remind folks about the upcoming show, and then because I imagine someone will be after me, so I like to be so I can just good modeling. Good modeling for the student. I feel like my kids it always makes me tired to do the show. I mean, I guess I don't always pay attention to stuff, but you have to pay attention to all the. I feel like I've been walk home like kindergarten walk home. Mom, do we have any cookies? But I'm so glad it's you that's here. I think this has been fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just.
I feel like my fatigue didn't negatively influence my responses.
No, we had the bad man, and
the bad man.
The bad man, and I usually try not to. I mean, but as much as I showed up a little rough from the night before.
Yeah. And
in walks Peter from the bed, and I'm like, oh my God, you look like I feel. He's like, yep. It was one where, luckily he had other people with him, but both of us are just a little.
Yeah.
I had the big woo on, and I had kidney stone surgery the day before,
Yeah.
like, 16 hours before. And so I'm on some painkillers and everything, but I thought I was right with the vibe of those dudes.
Yeah. Me and Andy did a video podcast for Nightosaur, and I showed up way late because I had done cocaine until like 8:30 in the morning. And then I don't think the guy ever aired the interview, and I was like, oh shit.
That must have been.
Sorry everybody. I kind of thought it'd be like cool to roll in late.
It's rock and roll.
Sorry, dude, I was up all night.
I thought that was in the name of what we do. That's funny.
The beginning of the solo, I was referencing like Rhapsody in Blue, and that was like totally like in the studio. I like kind of accidentally played a couple. I was like, wait a minute, and then I was like, okay, we gotta keep on doing this one because that's fun.
One set of footsteps.
Footprints.
Footprints. I knew I was going to screw that one up.
It's okay. Shaq will help you.
Yeah, I appreciate when Shaq helps me. I may need more help. Well, tell us again about the upcoming show.
Palmer's Bar on Saturday, October 12th.
Yeah.
With a very full lineup. Home team quarterback Cash, Flintlock, A Sunken Ship Irony, Mid-Death Calm, and PALS.
PALS. Awesome. I think that would be a good show. You are very fun to see live because you're very engaging and you have a good time and everyone around you has a good time. And
I'm a fan of less talk, more rock, and any amount of talk feels like way too much, but you have to talk on the stage. And afterwards, people assure me that I did a good job.
You do a good job because it's always pertinent. And you always feel like, oh, I just learned something about that song. I mean, and people like, oh, all right, I get that. That's kind of, or like feel like you've been let in on a little secret.
Yeah.
Everybody likes a secret.
I definitely
they
don't
know.
ramble. I mean, I've seen performers that might spend a half hour talking about a painting they made of a cat instead of playing their songs.
Right.
And that's not as fun.
No, it is really as much fun. But you do an awesome job.
Thank you very much.
So yes, October 12th at Palmer's.
Yeah, everybody
PALS.
check it out. We're called PALS. Follow us on Instagram, pals.band.
Yeah.
There's definitely a picture of a cat.
And now we'll be working on a cat holding Oprah. Sad, I might actually go home and do that. All right, now we're going to hear more songs about friends. We've got Nelson Devereaux with LA Friends. I knew I was going to screw up something.
I don't believe I swore.